Welcome. My name is Anna Peitzman, and I'm an MLIS student at UNC Greensboro. In this presentation, I will be talking to you all about the internship I completed in the fall of 2017 in the Special Collections and University Archives at UNC Asheville. I'm going to break this presentation into 3 sections, talking about the reference aspects, the instructional aspects, and the outreach aspects of my internship. So let's go ahead and get started. Reference was an important part of my internship this semester. I shadowed Colin Reeve and Jean Hyde, archivists extraordinaire. They showed me in real time how to conduct reference interviews with students and then employees and also just the general public who came into the special collections. Also, there were several instances where we had an intake of materials for collections from a local historian, as well as some community members who had existing collections in the special collections. Whenever I would interact with a student or employee or the local historian, I would record those interactions in LibAnalytics. And finally, in this aspect of reference is that I responded to image requests for photographs from the collections that we had, include invoicing, processing the images, and sending them to the patron. In the reading room, we had guidelines on how to interact with the patrons. This was including how to assist researchers, basically how the reference interview should go, being approachable, conveying interest, asking the right questions, helping the patrons in their searches. Then also just providing that efficacy in keeping everything confidential. Here are some of the books that throughout the semester we helped patrons find and use. This is part of the Cherokee Folklore, which in the special collections and archives at UNC Asheville contain a lot of the regional and local cultural materials. There are also a lot of digital materials, the very robust collection from Ian Ball, who took a whole lot of pictures of Asheville and a lot of in downtown Asheville, chronicling urban Appalachia. Let's go ahead and move on to the instruction aspect of my semester. Throughout the semester, we had 8 history and English classes who came into special collections for various projects. Partly the goals were to introduce the classes. Most of them were freshman or sophomore classes, had colloquium classes for freshmen. So there was an introduction to special collections in those presentations, including what primary and secondary resources are, what special collections exist for, and how you can utilize and search for materials. Several of the classes had specific research projects utilizing collections in the UNC Asheville Special Collections, so they got to have a hands-on experience and dedicated class time and access to the archivists and us for our expertise. There was also a class that we held on bibliographic instruction, how to search the library and how to search for materials and properly cite resources. These sessions all happen in the reading room, and this is pictured on this slide. On the far right, there's a projector screen that comes down, so we would have presentations and showing them interactive elements. Most of the students were able to bring in laptops, so we had that. Often had materials also on the tables from the collections, which are to the far right. Here's an example of the PowerPoints we would use in our classes. This includes the welcome slide to the special collections, and then also a very brief overview of what primary and secondary sources are. In order to help people find the materials, we talked about what finding aids look like, and that's the picture on the left of this slide. We also helped students figure out how to find materials and search not only on finding aids, but on the right you'll see the library homepage and the search the library catalog box. So we had some bibliographic instruction that way, and just getting students acquainted with what searching in a library looks like, what a finding aid looks like, and so on and so forth.
My class is focused on the idea of urban renewal. The government sanctioned going into various neighborhoods, clearing residences, businesses, etc., in order to make way for various civic structures. And so urban renewal was responsible for tearing apart thousands of neighborhoods. A lot of it happened in Nashville in the 60s and 70s. And so the students in my class are investigating in particular the effects of urban renewal on specific areas, understanding at the level of a residence what happened to this house, what happened to this business. They're going through the archives. We have pretty extensive archives in the special collections in Ramsey Library, which came to us from the Housing Authority in the city of Asheville. They've got extensive records on which houses were claimed by the city, and the owners were bought out essentially by the city and asked to move. And they're going out into the field, they're going to walk the streets of the neighborhood to get pictures of what it looks like now and compare those pictures with what it looked like before urban renewal, with the goal of putting together some exhibits, large format posters that would kind of tell the story of these various residences. For a long time we've adopted a very skills-based, knowledge-based view of what college should do. But I think those skills and that knowledge, which are important, they're meaningless or they're useless without the will and the know-how to apply them in a civic context. I think many people have forgotten what it means to be an engaged citizen, or at least they don't know how to be an engaged citizen, to gather together, to take their skills, their unique skills and perspectives and bring them together to solve problems together.
That was one of the classes, colloquium freshman course, who attended a few sessions in the special collections, and they had their project, the story of their project sort of followed throughout the semester, and the students got a lot of really great hands-on experience, not only in special collections but also in the field and in downtown Asheville. And finally, let's talk about the outreach aspect of my internship. This can include lots of different ways of interacting with the patron base in the community. This can also include reference and instruction as you're touching base with your patrons in all of those interactions. More specifically, we had brown bag talks, which are held in the reading room of special collections, and during these, the faculty present on their research, grant projects, and talk about upcoming publications. It's a great way to get people in the reading room and in the special collections, as well as facilitating faculty's work on campus. This also brings in all kinds of people, the public, students, faculty, and staff. This year, the UNC Asheville is celebrating their 90th anniversary, so there's a lot that we can do in terms of outreach. We held in special collections an open house on October 12th. There were over 24 attendees. And included a Realia exhibit and lots of good materials on display, showing various points within UNC Asheville's history. There's also a timeline digitally available about UNC Asheville. And in the Realia exhibit that I helped set up, here's some pictures from that display. And they had an introductory piece that shows the things that we pulled out to include, just give a brief taste of what UNC Asheville's look like over the years. To the right is the Bulldog Barker sign, which was one of the student publications found on campus. And then a gavel from SGA, Student Government Association. Continuing through the exhibit, have placard from the Justice Center, which is a physical education building, and then to the right you'll see a couple of glass displays of other Realia and materials from the display. including some great Black Lives Matter posters from various demonstrations on campus within the last couple of years. Here are some sketches of UNC Asheville as it's grown. In the bottom, on the left-hand side of the slide, in the bottom picture, that's the library. And then on the top left, that is the big presentation hall, original big presentation hall. And then the middle picture is the administration building. Here's a picture of us from the open house interacting with patrons. I'm there in the middle on this table. This might be the most popular table. It had yearbooks, which stopped being produced in 1985 at UNCA, but people love to look through them, and there's a lot of good history there and a lot of cultural relevant material. Especially, you can tell each decade by some of the quirks that that the books show by decade. On the right, you'll see various publications that UNCA has had over the years. On this slide, you'll see some of the people who attended the open house. We had a great lot of fun. These materials are things that people don't get to see every day or may not even realize is available to them. On the right, you see part of the Blue Banner, which is a student publication that has been ongoing for quite a while now. And you'll see some of the pictures. We've got just the flavor of UNCA here. Thank you for taking the time to let me talk to you about my independent study internship today. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at alpeitzm@uncg.edu. I can take questions on outreach, reference, or instruction, or the project as a whole. Thanks so much.